In times of uncertainty, trust in paint.
You are Locked On Boilermakers, your daily podcast on the Purdue Boilermakers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into another episode of Locked On Boilermakers here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I am your host. I am Nick Arvin. And unfortunately, this episode isn't what I wanted because yesterday was commitment day for a couple of recruits that Purdue was looking at between Ralph Scott and Bo Ogden, and Purdue gets neither. It sucks, but you gotta trust in paint. We'll get into all of it. We'll get into my reaction. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. And if today's your first time seeing the show, if you guys are new here, please do like and subscribe. It helps us out a ton. Leave a comment. It really helps because we want to bring you guys daily Purdue content. We're Monday through Friday here. Season is starting up soon, and there's a lot to be excited about. So don't miss anything. Make sure to subscribe. And with that, let's jump right into things because, like I said, today, this is not the episode that I wanted to be filming. I wanted to be filming a celebration that Purdue got at least one of the two guys, between Bo Ogden, between Ralph Scott, because the commitment was yesterday. A lot of anticipation between these two guys. And going into yesterday, my speculation was I was under the impression that Bo Ogden was a lock for Texas. I thought that his dad, quite literally being the general manager of Texas, he's from Austin, Texas, been around the Longhorns his whole life. The pictures of KD, former Longhorn, all the connections were there. It felt like it was absolutely to Texas. And he commits first. He commits at 2 p.m. Eastern yesterday and picks Texas as expected. And to be honest, wasn't too surprised with that one. That one was kind of expected, so that one didn't really hurt. And for Ralph Scott, I didn't necessarily expect him to go to Purdue. I was under the impression, especially going into the later days, that it was leaning more and more and more towards Tennessee. But Scott continues to say things. He continued to say things down to the day of his commitment that would make people think that he would be going to Purdue, including a quote that he put out for the One Network, where it was something along the lines of, this isn't the exact quote, but it was along the lines of, I want to go somewhere where I can develop, and somewhere that has a great engineering program. And when you think about Purdue, that's exactly what you think of. You think about Matt Painter, who is the best developer in the nation, and you think about the engineering program, which is one of the best engineering programs in the world. And that's two things that Purdue offers. So Scott, he kept saying things that made people believe that he was going to Purdue all the way up until his commitment on Tuesday. But unfortunately, going into it, the parents, the family, they already had Tennessee stuff. There was gear in the background. So you tune in and you kind of know that he's going to Tennessee. But in retrospect, it really feels kind of obvious because this is a guy that, when you think about Purdue commits, everyone that Purdue has brought in this cycle especially has been pretty low-key whenever they commit. They haven't really made a whole big scene, and that's kind of been the Purdue way under Matt Painter. Come to play at Purdue, be excited to play at Purdue, but don't really do the whole shebang. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what Ralph Scott did, but he live streamed his announcement, did a whole press conference on the CBS Sports Network. That is definitely a Tennessee approach. So that's something that we probably could have picked up on if we didn't have our Purdue glasses on at the time. And then he moves the date forward. I'm not saying that this necessarily has any correlation, but Purdue, they bring in Rivers Night. Ralph Scott, he moves his commitment date forward from October, that Friday, this upcoming Friday, to yesterday, to Tuesday. So that was a little hint that he may be going the volunteer way. And ultimately, he did end up going that way. But we can't be too hung up on this. We can't be too hung up on Ralph Scott not picking Purdue. It sucks. It stinks. I wanted him because I felt like he would have been the perfect addition to the 2026 class. I feel like he really carries himself as a Boilermaker should. He could fit in. He could play at Jakari Harris, CJ Cox minutes going into his freshman year. I think that this is a guy that is going to be able to play immediately at Tennessee because that's kind of the skill level that he is. But I'd say don't be too upset about it because you know that Matt Painter is absolutely going to bounce back, and Matt Painter can develop anybody. But the one thing I do want to say is don't put any hate. There's a lot of people talking, and sometimes that rhetoric can get stirred up where it's attacking this kid. He's 18 years old. He makes a decision. It doesn't go Purdue's way, but don't attack him. Don't go after him because he has the right to make the decision to play at Tennessee, and that's fine. Tennessee is a fine program with Rick Barnes. They're not the pedigree of Purdue, and he's not going to have the opportunity to develop the way that he would have had to develop at Purdue. So it's not Purdue's loss, it's Ralph Scott's loss. And Matt Painter is still going to be able to develop Rivers Knight. He's going to be able to develop Luke Ertl, and he's going to be able to develop Jacob Weber to fit into his system. And that's what you kind of got to keep your eyes on. Purdue already has a top 10 class set up in the nation. And just because a couple recruits don't go your way, the sky's not falling. The world's not ending. There was a lot of excitement going into today because there's a lot of excitement about these two guys. But ultimately, it doesn't go your way. But I don't think that Matt Painter's done. I think that going into today, if you were able to get one of these guys, I think that you get two more guys, fill that scholarship window up in 2026 with 5 different guys. But now you don't luck out with Ralph Scott. You don't luck out with Ogden, rather. And so I think that maybe you just get one more guy. If that, I do think that Painter still has his eyes on one more guy. And a guy to look out for is Sign-On Juan. We talked about him. He's still going on his visits, seeing all of his options. So a commitment probably not until maybe November. But he loved Purdue, and everyone said that Purdue were the front runners. All the experts said that Purdue were absolutely the number one team in this race for this guy. Illinois has certainly crept up to be a close number 2. So Purdue not the runaway favorites for this guy that they once were. But Purdue still absolutely has their eyes on Juan. 7-footer, Chinese heritage. All the selling points are there. Just keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes out on these guys. Juan is one. And then just going forward, we saw Rivers Knight. He commits out of nowhere. We didn't even know that he was offered because he got offered the week before. Anything can happen for Matt Painter. Anything can happen for Purdue because that's what this program is. It's not flashy. You don't announce that you're going to be committing on CBS Sports to become a Boilermaker. That's not a shot at Ralph Scott, but it's more an admiration of what Purdue is. You don't have to be flashy. You fit in, you keep your mindset. You could be excited to play for the Boilermakers. You should be excited, but you don't need to be flashy. You don't need to make it into a big media spectacle. That's the way that college basketball is going these days. Matt Painter, he's kind of kept his program in the past from a certain perspective where he doesn't want his recruits doing all that. And that's okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat in college basketball recruiting. And I promise Matt Painter has it in mind. So my final thoughts are, it was Ralph Scott's loss. It was Bo Ogden's loss. I hope that they have success. I hope that Bo Ogden has success at Texas. I hope Ralph Scott has success at Tennessee. I'm not upset that they chose against Purdue because I know and I have faith and I trust that Matt Painter is going to be able to bring someone in and get the talent out of them that is going to be equal to what Ralph Scott, to what Bo Ogden naturally bring coming out of high school, the talent that they naturally have. I have faith in Matt Painter that he can develop a 2-star better than any other coach in the nation can develop a 4-star. And that's just the X factor that Purdue has. That's why this program is always going to be good, because you have Matt Painter, because you have a system that has been built up for Purdue. So it stinks. You don't get what you want, but it's not over. This 2026 class is not over. There is still plenty of talent left in this class, and there's still plenty of opportunity for Matt Painter and the Boilermakers to build up this roster going into 2026. We'll talk about it more. We'll talk about our partners at FanDuel, our friends at FanDuel. They opened their lines today of futures bet Big Ten basketball champions. Purdue are the favorites. We'll talk about those lines. We'll talk about who's the favorites, who's coming up close behind Purdue. We'll have that. Stick with us. We got it here next. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS top safety pick awards than anyone else. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, if you're looking for a car, it has to be a Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch, they do the heavy lifting, and you can link all your accounts in just minutes. See clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally, feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. I love Monarch because they help me cut out my subscriptions that I was just wasting money on. You can do that too. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. As you guys know, we talk about it all the time. We are great friends with the people over at FanDuel, and today they launch their opening lines for the conference champions in college basketball. College basketball is almost here, just over a month away. I can't wait. And like I said, we're getting excited. These lines are starting to open up. The futures are starting to open up. And early on, the future bet opened up for national championship. And of course, Purdue, the Boilermakers, are the favorites, number one in that. So it was to be expected that Purdue would be the favorites for the Big Ten championship. And that is factual because they open up as plus 10 to win the Big Ten conference. That's the regular season champions, not the conference tournament, but the regular season. They are plus 210 to win that. So, hey, I think by December, they're going to be minus money. I don't think you can get that plus money anymore. If you're a bettor, maybe you want to get in on that with our partners at FanDuel. But Purdue, they open up as the favorites for this one, to be expected. But who are some of the other conference champions that are the favorites? So for the ACC, it's Duke. That one kind of to be expected. Duke always there. But Louisville, they are the second on that bet slip. They are number 2, plus 220. Duke, plus 155. We know Louisville may be a team that Purdue has to face off against in March. So they have a very heavy backcourt, very talented backcourt. Duke is always good. So we'll see there. ACC, Big East, of course, Connecticut, UConn, St. John's, a close second there. In the Big 12, it's Houston. Houston, that's going to be a 1 seed alongside Purdue. That's going to be a team to watch all year long. SEC, Florida, national championships. What can you expect? So ultimately, we see all these teams, all the teams that we know are kind of going to be good. And it makes sense that these are the opening lines. These teams are the favorites. But when you look a little bit deeper at the Big Ten, let's look at some of these teams that let's just kind of go down the list for the odds, rather, of who's going to be able to win this conference. Because number 2, I don't know if this one's as expected as I thought it would be, but I am under the opinion that Michigan should be the runners-up to win this conference. Coming from an opening standpoint, I think that Michigan is one of the most talented teams in the Big Ten, second to Purdue, because they have all the talent in the front court. They have several very capable bigs in that program. They're going to be consistently good. They're going to continue to be good. I think that that one's a home game down the stretch for Purdue in Mackey. That ticket is going to be hot. Get that one now if you're buying tickets. Purdue, Michigan. Can't wait to watch that one. And then UCLA. That's another team where that's another game where I feel like Purdue, if they're going to drop one in Big Ten play, it's on that West Coast trip to face off against UCLA. I think that UCLA will be solid this year. I don't think they're going to be a 1 or 2 seed. I think they may be a 3 or a 4. I think that's kind of the ceiling for where UCLA is at. But when you think about Purdue going on the road, they have to face off against UCLA. There is a chance that Purdue goes into that one. I hope they don't, but there's a chance that that travel kind of hinders Purdue a little bit. And like I said, always a possibility. Next up, Illinois. Illinois following UCLA. I believe Purdue faces off against Illinois pretty early in the season. That one will be fun. Honestly, don't know what to expect for Illinois this year. That's a team where they could either be very good. They could go past kind of the expectations that they have, but there's also a good chance that they just completely failed to meet expectations. Stojakovic, that'll be one to watch. I think that's a fun story coming out of this team this year. And then, of course, Ben Hummerkaus. He's a dog. Illinois, they're going to be good this year. But overall, Ohio State, Michigan State, Oregon, USC, Wisconsin, all kind of long shots in the middle to win the Big Ten. Iowa, Indiana, Washington, Maryland. Indiana at plus 3,500. That's one that's kind of notable. Under new head coach DeVries over there, they're trying to figure out what they got going. Purdue will obviously face off against Indiana twice, home and home at Assembly, and then back at Mackey on a Friday night. Maryland is a sneaky team this year. I would watch out for Maryland. Purdue faces off against Maryland fairly early. Definitely one to watch out for. I don't know if they will be good, but I think that they have the opportunity to win a few games that people don't expect them to win in Big Ten play. And then towards the bottom, teams you kind of expect. Rutgers, they're not going to be great this year. Penn State, Minnesota, and then Northwestern, of course, towards the bottom. So overall, kind of what you would expect, out of the Big Ten for where this Big Ten landscape is heading into last year after the transfer portal. We see some of these recruits come in, and the rosters overall, that's kind of how it stacks out. I definitely see Purdue, the best roster rather in the Big Ten, the most developed, most battle tested. Absolutely. I would say that's for the whole nation. The only team that I think rivals Purdue right now is Houston. I think that Houston is a great team as well. Extremely well coached under Kelvin Sampson. They're looking to get back. They were in the national championship. They lose to Florida. That team is looking to get back. Purdue looking to get back as well. That's a potential national championship preview. I hope that Purdue gets to face off against Houston at some point in this year. But overall, we know now that Purdue, they're the favorites to win the Big Ten. I think that Big Ten play, it's going to be fairly simple for Purdue. Like I said earlier, that West Coast stretch, and then that little home stretch where it's Michigan, Michigan State, and Indiana all in a row. Those are some games where you look at the schedule. Maybe Purdue loses them. I don't see Purdue really struggling in Mackey a whole lot this year, but Purdue absolutely, they have the talent, not just to win the Big Ten regular season title, but they have the opportunity to go undefeated. And I don't say that lightly. I don't think that they'll go undefeated the whole season. I think that they have too many tough out-of-conference games. But I think they potentially do have the opportunity to maybe win out Big Ten play. And that's just how good this team is. With Braden Smith, he'll be looking to win that National Player of the Year award. That'll be done in the Big Ten play. He'll be looking to get that assist record. There's just so much on the line throughout these Big Ten games this year for Purdue. And it's just great because I think that the Big Ten is very accessible for Purdue to win. I think that even the best year of the Big Ten, Purdue would be in a fine spot just because of how talented this roster is. But looking at the schedule, looking at kind of these odds where some of these teams stack out, getting more comfortable with the rosters, getting closer to college basketball season, I honestly think that Purdue is in a really great position. There are some tough games on the schedule. There are some tough opponents in Big Ten play, but overall they're spaced out far enough. You got these stretches of games where you don't really have too many gauntlets in there. The schedule's pretty light. Purdue absolutely has the opportunity to take advantage of that, and I think that they absolutely should win the Big Ten regular season championship. I think that they should win the Big Ten tournament and then absolutely make a run at that national championship. And we're just a month away from the start of Purdue basketball. for the start of the run to this national championship. So stick with us on Locked On Boilermakers, because we bring you that content every single day. But for now, for the final segment of the show, I want to shift over to football a little bit. I want to talk about the month of October. Purdue has 4 games in the month of October. This stretch of 4 games is going to be the most vital opportunity for Purdue to reach a bowl game. Very important implications on these next games this month. We'll talk about it. We got it here next. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because I can bet however I want, whether that's future bets. Maybe you want to hop in live on the action. They got live betting. You can parlay, same game parlay. It doesn't matter with FanDuel. You can play however you want. We talked about it. We talked about the Big Ten championship odds. Purdue, their favorites at plus 210. Hop in early on that one. You can do it all with FanDuel. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of home. Whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot with the best wings in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. These businesses are what bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. Businesses such as Mitchell's Mex, Purdue Team Store, Silver Dipper Ice Cream, R&W, Kona Ice of Midwest, and so many more. So many businesses use Square. Square is a proud partner of over 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/LockedOnCollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. The first day of October is officially here, and October is going to be a huge month for Purdue sports. We got Kentucky versus Purdue, the exhibition happening on October 24th, the 24th of this month. That's coming up soon. But for the football team, for Barry Odom's boys, October is a huge month. And with that, it's probably going to be the most pivotal month throughout the season for Purdue. And let me tell you why. So Purdue right now, 2-2. Coming off their bye week, they face off against Illinois at Ross-Ade this Saturday. And this one is going to be a huge game. Purdue absolutely has a chance to win that one. The ultimate trap game for Illinois. But Illinois is a very good football team. Going into this year, I didn't think that Purdue would really have an opportunity to come out of this one with a win. Now, my mindset a little bit shifted after what happened with Illinois against Indiana. Illinois, they have a nice bounce back against USC, so really anything could happen. Anything can happen any given Saturday. That's where we'll leave that one. But say that Purdue, they lose against Illinois. The next 3 games are still just as important because you face off at Minnesota on October the 11th, at Northwestern October the 18th, and then versus Rutgers the following week. And those are going to be 3 of the biggest games on the schedule because just for the math, Purdue at 2 wins right now. Say you are able to pull off at Minnesota, at Northwestern versus Rutgers. Rutgers and Northwestern, the two, arguably 2 of the worst teams besides UCLA in the Big Ten right now. So never want to say that it's a win before the game is played, but those games, especially Northwestern and Rutgers, those feel like wins. Minnesota, that'll be a tough game. But if you're able to pull out 5 wins coming out of October at Michigan versus Ohio State, at Washington versus Indiana, the month of November, that's an absolute gauntlet. But all you have to do is win 1 game and you're bowl eligible. And say that makes all those games have real implications on them. That makes all those games feel important for Purdue because you're playing for something. You're playing for something down the stretch. And obviously those opponents, they probably are going to have more talent than you on the field, but are they going to have the motivation that you have to get back to a bowl game, to get to a bowl game in the first year of your head coach's tenure, to completely turn around, to have this achievement on the backs of a 1-11 season last year? A bowl game, it means more than a lot of people would say for Purdue this year, because although It is 6-6. It's not going to be the best bowl game against the best team. Still, a bowl game after where you were last year. It's still going to take winning some games to make it happen, but that would be a huge accomplishment for this team. And Purdue is going to have to get it going. They're going to have to win some games in the month of October. And that goes back to what we've seen against USC, what we saw against Notre Dame. We were very excited. We were happy about the way that Purdue played against those two teams. We know that there were mistakes made. There were interceptions against USC. The defense wasn't able to get any stops against Notre Dame. Those things have to be fixed. But there are a lot of positives for Purdue coming out of those two games. A lot of reasons for people to say, hey, this may be a different football team than what we saw last year. Two things can be true. This is a better football team than what we saw last year. And if Purdue wants to improve, if they want to continue to win games, if they want to make that bowl game, they got to start winning these games. Being competitive is not enough if you want to make it to a bowl game. That's fine against Notre Dame. That's fine against USC. But this stretch against Minnesota, the stretch against Northwestern, Rutgers, and then even Illinois, you got to start winning some of these because they get increasingly more and more important as the year goes on. And you want to prove, hey, this is an improved team. This is a team that is capable of winning football games, not just scoring points in them. So I think that's the next step that Purdue can take as a program. I think that's the next step that this team will take if they want to prove that, hey, we really are that improved. We're a different team than where we were. And against Illinois, before we head out today, on the ESPN matchup predictor, Purdue, they're 25%. They have a 25% chance. And that spread has gone down. So the spread originally, it opened at Illinois, 7.5 point favorite. So just over a touchdown. Illinois has gone up. It's a 9.5 point spread right now. But that's one of the closest spreads that we've seen all year. Against USC, it was 17.5. Against Notre Dame, it was 20.5, 21.5 in some places. So this spread going down almost just a touchdown as it opened up, now hovering around that 10-point range. I mean, a lot to be excited about if you're a Purdue fan. I think this is one where Purdue has a real opportunity on Saturday to maybe pull off an upset. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I do think that Illinois will win this game, but Purdue absolutely, they have an opportunity to win this game. It's not like they're going to go into this game crazy mismatched. Illinois, they won against Duke on the road, but against Indiana, they completely laid an egg, and they need to prove that they can continue, or that they can just in general win away games in Big Ten play. We're going to see it 11 a.m., 12 p.m. Eastern time at Ross-Ade, West Lafayette this Saturday. Stick with us through the rest of the week. We'll be having Sonny from Locked On Illini on the show to talk that matchup. And I just appreciate you guys joining us once again today. If you guys are hearing us for the first time, make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment. And it's another exciting moment here for Locked On, because Locked On and Fire TV, they announce college football kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12, he leads that conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Hawley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. Thank you guys, and as always, pull her up, hammer down.